So I wonder what Walt Disney would say if he saw his company today. His company today is now, within the past year, down nearly 50% in its stock price. I'm going to talk about that as an overarching theme of this video to say, if you get woke, you go broke, obviously. But I'm going to share with you at the end of the video the two things you can expect to happen if you decide to throw wokeism down people's throats. I'm also going to share with you a few examples from this article from Red State, including the movie Lightyear, which took out Tim Allen, who basically created the main character, and put in place a woke Chris Evans, only to see the opening totally flop worldwide, and now it's probably going to lose money. Astonishing when you consider it is a Pixar film. This article is from Brandon Morse of Red State. Disney stock has nearly tumbled 50% as audiences turn away. You think? Go woke, go broke. No doubt the higher-ups at Disney heard that phrase at some point, likely reading it from people tweeting it from their Twitter feeds. And I'm pretty sure in your little circle that you may have, or big circle where you have, I'm sure people have been talking about Disney and how they have gone downhill from all over the spectrum, not only from TV and movies, but also to the theme parks. They're going woke there as well, and people aren't showing up. It is just astonishing how they could consider it and continue to do this. If you look at this chart here, this is where we have back in June of 2021. It stayed level all the way through October for the most part. Small dip there, but not really that bad. All the way to, let's say, November. Beginning of November, all the way down to November, took a substantial dip. Kept even all the way through, let's say, early or late March. Took a dip there. Came back up, rebounded a little bit to April, and then again stay level. And then from April to where we are now, it's taking a stark decline, losing again 50% or nearly 50% of where it was a year ago. It says, Disney might not be surprised, but we sure are not, because like I said, in your circle, you know that this is true. If you've been watching Disney at all within the past 2 years, you see the delta from where they were 2 years ago to where they are now, and people are utterly fed up. Let's talk about the film Lightyear. This is a film that is the first Pixar film, for that matter, within a few years before the whole worldwide catastrophe that we all know. Now, this was in the theaters for the first time because the last two films were direct to streaming. Well, this one here bombed all over the world, and it has to do with blatant wokeism in here, sexual content that kids do not want to be involved with. I'm going to cover this quickly here. I'm going to go right back to it in a little bit as we get further on the video. But I just want to just cover this now because this is something that I want to just show how bad this is. So the experts expected the film to gross anywhere from $70 to $80 million domestically and $50 to $60 million offshore, with a worldwide estimate opening of 135. Well, what did it do? Well, it crash landed at $51 million domestically and only adding an additional $34 million offshore for what he says here, a pathetic $85.6 million. That is a long way off. It's about $50 million off the worldwide box office, is what they want. And based on estimates, the film cost about $300 million. And to get any kind of return on investment, they had to be north of $550 million or $650 million just to break even. That, again, is remarkable for somebody like Disney. They have a new show called Miss Marvel. That's also tanking. This is a direct to streaming Disney Plus show. Miss Marvel, I imagine it involves the Miss Marvel character, which we saw Captain Marvel in the movie, which didn't do very well at all. But they want to spin it and saying it did, but it really didn't. Only reason why the first one did well was because it was off the heels of Infinity Wars. But this film had a total of 775,000 households, which is roughly half of what the other top tier shows on Disney Plus does. Also, if you go back and look at the flops of Mulan and the Eternals, and it goes on and on and on in terms of the wokeness that people are just tired of. I mentioned a little bit about Obi Wan. That's the new show that's on Disney Plus now. This is a show that is involved a beloved character in Star Wars, Obi Wan Kenobi, where he is a young person on Tatooine, which is a desert planet, and you don't have to know the story to understand what I'm about to tell you. He's a major character with powers who is brave, heroic, but not anymore. They made him not brave, not heroic, very cowardly, and without his powers because he has some kind of mental block. He can't get by the fact of the trauma that he saw in the events that happened prior to the beginning of the series. In other words, they made him into a total wimp. And it's that kind of thing. People want to see the hero have to go through stuff like that when it doesn't even match the character itself. Now we're at the point in the video where I'm going to talk to you about the two things that are sure to happen if you decide to push wokeism down people's throats, especially if they are paying customers' throats. You see, we have to first define what I mean by woke before I can do that. And the answer is very simple. Wokeism, when it comes to entertainment, is putting a political agenda or a political narrative over the actual entertainment that's being presented. Whether that be a sporting event, TV show, movie show, anything, advertisement, if that's considered entertainment, it doesn't matter. The event has a purpose: to win a ball game or to show a story from A to Z of characters getting to a destination in some sort of narrative. When you put a political component on top of that, what you do is you alienate a large majority of people who are watching the event. And the percentage of that varies depending on what it is and what you're trying to do and the issue you're trying to present. But it's anywhere from 75 to 95% of people that are going to be feeling very uncomfortable. And of those 75 to 95%, a big portion of those will do the next thing. They will feel, and this is number two, they are going to feel like they're being lectured to. And no one likes to be preached to, especially if it's an issue that they don't care about. And when you alienate people already, so they're already mad that you're talking about issues they don't care about, and then you turn right around and lecture them on why they're X, Y, and Z if they don't comply to their propaganda, more or less, then that's going to make people angry. And people respond to anger by not paying, not watching, going away, and giving it a bad word of mouth. And people also resent the fact that even though they've been lectured to, then they get attacked because you didn't prescribe or bow down to their narrative. And you see Star Wars attacking fans. You see Marvel attacking fans. You see the NBA attacking fans, blaming you for not bowing down to their agenda. And that is what's ultimately infuriating. And to me, it's the ultimate reason, the main reason why people walk away, because they say, hey, you mean to tell me that while I'm watching this game, you told me something that I didn't want to hear, and then got mad that I didn't agree with it, and then called me a certain name because I didn't bow down or agree or concede or comply to your agenda. I'm done. I'm out. And that right there is the attitude across the board, across all forms of entertainment, whether it be TV, movies, news, sports, or what have you. And that's something that happens, and that whole thing cycles down, and it causes the whole entity of whatever it is to go down. We saw how the NBA put the BLM stuff all over the place, and then the next year they said, no, we're not going to do it anymore because they realized, hey, it's not going to benefit us because our ratings were in the trash can. They were terrible. It's a pattern that we see all over the place. We see how Top Gun, the movie Maverick, how that has done so well because it avoided all of that, and people appreciated that and could sit through a movie theater for 2 hours and say, hey, you know what? This is pretty cool. There's no agenda. No one's lecturing me. I don't feel like a bad person for watching it or not agreeing with whatever they're trying to put down my throat. So I enjoy that. And I, in turn around and give it a good word of mouth, and more people go see it. And it works like that. And the wokeism works the exact opposite. With wokeism, what happens with them is that their world gets smaller and smaller and smaller because they keep alienating more and more and more, which means it is a model of diminishing returns, and it is absolutely unattainable, not sustainable whatsoever. But what say you? What do you think about this whole thing about Disney losing 50% of their shares and all of this stuff going on with failed programming going left and right? And what about Lightyear? Totally tanking at the box office, probably not going to make a profit. Let me repeat that right there. A Disney Pixar film of a theatrical release is probably not going to make a profit. Let me know your thoughts on that and comment below. I'd be curious to know what you think. And as always, if you like what we're doing this channel, we take pop culture and politics and filter to you right, then please check out some more content for you right